I'm Randy Weingarten, President of the American Federation of Teachers, your national union. Thank you for spending a few minutes allowing me to discuss this year's presidential election and the role you and your union can play. These are challenging days for America and most Americans. Years of tough times have led to millions of people losing their job, home, health care, or pension. Huge inequalities in our economy and our society have been exposed, but not adequately addressed. The middle class is shrinking, poverty is growing, and American optimism is often clouded by anxiety, uncertainty, and fear. Our members have felt the effects of all of this. In the midst of this, Americans will elect a president. Choosing a president is always a major decision, but the state of our country and the world and the stark differences amongst the candidates make this election especially significant. This election is a choice, not a referendum. It is a choice between very different visions for our country. The AFT takes making an endorsement very seriously. We started our process in July 2011, first listening to members like you about their experiences at work and in their communities, what they hope to achieve personally and professionally, what they value, and what their concerns are. In surveys, meetings, online forums, and conversations, AFT members made it clear that they support both the re-election of President Obama and an endorsement by the AFT expressing that support. The AFT Executive Council took all this into consideration and has voted to endorse the candidacy of Barack Obama for President of the United States. AFT members have consistently said that jobs and the economy are the most important issues confronting our country. President Obama successfully fought for the passage of the economic stimulus that saved or created hundreds of thousands of jobs and prevented cuts to K-12 public education, higher education, and to other vital public services.
We've got to get our teachers back to work. Let's pass this bill and put them in the classroom where they belong.
President Obama has pushed for the American Jobs Act, which would prevent up to 280,000 teacher layoffs and keep cops and firefighters on the job. The Jobs Act would also modernize at least 35,000 public schools and rebuild our roads, rails, and airports, putting hundreds of thousands of workers back on the job. But the president has faced stiff resistance from opponents in Congress. These are the kinds of differences that will define the nation's choice on November 6th. The difference between a president who fought for legislation to make health care accessible to millions of Americans who otherwise would go without, and opponents who seek to repeal it. The difference between a president who has used his office to advocate for workers and union rights, and opponents who have supported efforts to strip workers of their voice and their rights in Wisconsin, Ohio, and elsewhere. The difference between a president who's worked to rebuild the middle class and who believes that everyone should have a fair shot at success, and his opponents who put corporations and the wealthy above average Americans. These are not minor differences. The candidates running for the Republican nomination are promoting a view of America that differs greatly from that held by those of us concerned about economic and educational opportunity for all and making sure that everyone has a fair chance to achieve the American dream. Barack Obama will move our country forward in a fundamentally different direction than any of the Republican contenders. This does not mean that we agree with every decision that the president and his administration have made. In particular, we disagree strongly with elements of the administration's education policies that appear to focus more on competition and measuring than on promoting what frontline professionals like you know will improve teaching and learning. When we have disagreed with the Obama administration, the AFT has made that known and we will continue to do so. And indeed, in the recent State of the Union address, the President made clear that we must educate and not test our way to greater educational and economic achievements. And the President has weighed in on the side of workers when governors like those in Wisconsin and Ohio tried to end collective bargaining or otherwise strip our voice. President Obama has fought to preserve the federal role in both elementary and secondary education, particularly for disadvantaged students, and he has said that higher education can't be a luxury. It's an economic imperative that every family in America should be able to afford, and he has fought for policies that move us closer to that goal. One of the things that became very clear in 2010 is that elections matter. Whether at the presidential or school board level, who we elect will affect our members' ability to do their jobs. Every presidential election gives Americans the power to make a choice, not simply about who will lead the country, but about a vision for the country's future. AFT members are committed to the work we do, the people we serve, and the communities we are part of. We're committed to economic fairness and educational opportunity. Our members are our greatest resource. The AFT's endorsement of Barack Obama sets in motion a program to provide our members with ways to take part in grassroots support for the president's reelection, and with it, a commitment to restoring America and the American dream. I hope you'll get involved and make your voice heard in this election. You can learn more at aft.org/election2012. Thank you very much.